Hi, it's Katie from K Books, and today I'm going to do the My Life in Books tag. This tag was started by Danny on Books, and I've linked her original video down below. I wasn't tagged by anybody, but this tag seemed really fun, so I decided to do it anyway. On to the questions. Question number 1 is find a book for each of your initials. My initials are KM. For K, I have The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. I recently picked this one up and I've heard amazing things about this book and the whole series, and it seems like a perfect fall read, so I hope to read this one this fall. For M, I have Monument 14 by Emmy Laybourne, and this is about kids that camp out in a chain superstore when there's a whole bunch of disastrous events going on in the world. And I think that this one also sounds like a perfect fall read, and I can't wait to read this one. And my last initial is P, and for P I have Pandemonium by Lauren Oliver. I haven't quite started the Delirium series, and this is the second in the series, but I did pick up the first 2 books already. I am really hoping to read them soon. This second question is to count your age along your bookshelf and pull out the book that you land on. I am 24 years old, and the 24th book on my shelf is Unravel Me by Tara Maffei. This book is amazing. I just finished it. I loved it. I didn't want it to end, and at the same time I couldn't turn the pages fast enough. This book is so good. I love this series. I can't wait to find out what happens in the next one. Hi guys, so while I was editing I realized that I forgot a question. Question number 3 is to pick a book that's set in your city, state, country. I live in Minnesota, so I picked Mila 2.0 by Deborah Dreza. I have not read this one yet, but I bought it because it sounds really cool and it's set in Minnesota, so I had to get it. And this cover is really cool as well. So sorry that I look different and this is a different setting. I realized I left this part out and I wanted to include it. So now on to the next question. The third question is to pick a book with a destination that you would like to travel to. And I picked Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins. This is set in San Francisco. I've heard so many stories about San Francisco. I've heard wonderful stories. I think it's a beautiful city and I really want to visit it someday. Number 5 is to pick a book that's your favorite color. My current favorite color is green, and so I chose Insurgent by Veronica Roth. I recently read Divergent and it was so good. I know that Allegiance is coming out soon, and so I'm kind of waiting to read this one until it gets closer to that date, and so I can read them back to back and finish up the series. I don't want the series to end, but at the same time I really want to find out what happens next. Question number 6 is which book do you have the fondest memories of? I don't have this book with me because it's in storage, but the book is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I read this book way back when I was 14 and I loved it. I loved Bella. I loved Edward. I loved the story. I loved everything about this book. I shared it with all my friends and they loved it, and I couldn't get enough of this series. I waited for each book to come out and I read each book right away, and this book opened me up to the whole YA genre. I didn't know that there was a YA genre. I didn't even know that there was a paranormal genre. And I fell in love with the whole YA genre because of this book. I haven't reread it since then, and I've really been wanting to see how I feel about it now that I'm 10 years older. This is the book that I have the fondest memories of. Question number 7 is which book did you have the most difficulty reading? This one I also don't have with me. Once I read it, I sold it. I didn't like it at all. And that was If I Stay by Gail Forman. And I know this book is really popular. Please don't hate me for disliking it. But I felt like in the very beginning when the car accident happens and the way that the car accident was described, it was brutal and it was realistic, but at the same time I felt like this family that was so beautiful didn't deserve to be described in such a brutal way. I felt like it kind of ripped apart those feelings, and I know that's part of the beauty of the story, but I just couldn't come to terms with that. And then I found the rest of the book to be confusing, and I don't know. I didn't like it. I had a hard time getting through it, especially after that beginning part. And I did finish the book, although I didn't want to, and it took me a while, but I finished it. I didn't like it that much. I'm sorry if you guys like that book, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Question number 8 is, what book in your TBR pile will give you the biggest sense of accomplishment when you finish it? And that book for me is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. This is a classic. This book is huge. It's 817 pages with this tiny little font, and this book just intimidates the crap out of me. I am scared to read this book, but I really want to. So someday I will read this book. I don't know when, but I will. So those were all the questions and my answers to the My Life in Books tag. Please check out Danny on Books' original video. Let me know if you guys had any of the same answers I did. Thanks for watching. Happy reading!